Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Enjoy. When we went out to practice, it concerned me how routine the offense generally made it look. I never claimed to be some sort of master talent evaluator or claim that practice gives us a ton of great information. I've been going out there since 2010 to watch football practice. I can tell you who's wearing a no-contact jersey. I can tell you what player's going through the drills first. That's really the only information I try to pass along. I generally don't try to project wins and losses based on what we see in August drills. But it concerned me how routine the offense made it look. You were looking at red zone periods where it was touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. Looking at one-on-ones, which I know are built for the offense, but the offense won the vast majority of the reps. And it wouldn't concern me if I knew that LSU had a bunch of 5 stars or proven All-Americans or just the general dudes they've had in the secondary over the years. I just said, man, maybe the offense is that good. And, oh, by the way, it might be. But I didn't have enough knowledge of these defensive backs to give them the benefit of the doubt. And quite frankly, that's why the Friday before LSU played Florida State, I picked the Seminoles because I said, look, I've seen Keon Coleman in college. I know what he looks like. I've seen Jordan Travis, and I know what he can do. And I think LSU is going to have a real hard time covering these guys. It turns out, unfortunately, I was right about that. And I was sitting here on Friday in my office going, okay, I don't feel very good about this game. And I took my own advice from the previous day on Thursday, and I said, you know what? I'm just going to trust that this offense is going to go out there and score a ton of points, and it'll be enough. And I was going to pick Ole Miss, and I said, you know what? I'm going with LSU. This defense stinks. It's just bad. There's not another way to look at it. I ran these stats back on the post-game show on Saturday, and I'm going to bring them up immediately here because it's where we are with this team. In the second half, Florida State got the football 5 times against LSU when they were trying to score. I'm not counting taking knees and stuff. Florida State got the ball 5 times. They scored 5 times. 4 of them were touchdowns. In the second half against Arkansas, last week in Tiger Stadium, the Hogs basically got the ball 3 times. I'm not counting the last play of the game when LSU had just kicked a field goal and Arkansas threw the interception. We'll throw that out. So Arkansas got the ball 3 times. They scored all 3 times. 2 touchdowns. At that point, that's 8 out of 8 between Florida State and Arkansas. And Ole Miss got the ball 5 times in the second half on Saturday and scored 4 times. LSU got the 1 stop on the Yates bat down. 3 of those were touchdowns. In the second half, when you have seen the game plan and you've got an opportunity to adapt and be your best self in the second half, against Florida State, Arkansas, and Ole Miss, there have been 13 drives. 12 of them have resulted in scores. 9 touchdowns. They just can't get a stop. And I would have thought, if you would have told me that Ole Miss, okay, they're going to score 55 points, and you would have told me that on Friday, I would have said, okay, they just really can't cover. Like, they can't cover anybody. They couldn't cover Florida State. They didn't do a good job in the secondary against Arkansas. They just can't cover. And that's still true. They don't cover. But they didn't stop the run either against Ole Miss. And Ole Miss hadn't run the ball on anybody. Tulane, Georgia Tech, they can't run the ball. They ran it like crazy on LSU. You could try to give me the, well, Whit Weeks is playing pretty well. But basically, my thoughts are there's not a single player or coach that's doing a very good job on LSU's defense right now. Not one. And sometimes there's a glaring issue. Yeah, You don't have a second corner. Yeah, your pass rush isn't good. Well, your interior line is not very good, and you get run on. Like, it's just everything. Everything's bad. Everything is bad. And I bring those second half statistics up because they're just the opposite of what we saw last year. Mississippi State punched LSU right in the mouth in Tiger Stadium last year. Bam, 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 went right down the field twice. And then LSU just put the screws to them in the second half. They couldn't move the ball at all. It was a terrible start against Auburn. Ashford hits the deep ball. You're down 2 scores. And then the defense actually forces the touchdown that gets your momentum going and then puts the clamps on Auburn the rest of the way. Ole Miss, you're down 17-3 against Ole Miss. You pitch a shutout in the second half. Just gave them nothing. I thought those were really strong coaching moments by the defensive staff and the LSU team. And that's why I was going to give Matt House the benefit of the doubt this year and assume that he was really good. I have 1 year sample size. I can't pretend to have as much information on him as I did on Dave Aranda or John Chavis. But this year after halftime, they can't stop anything. It's just right down the field. Right down the field. And the weird thing is that LSU actually did force Ole Miss into some third downs. I'm taking my notes in the second half, and Ole Miss gets the ball in their first drive, and you get them into 3rd and 10, and they hit Prieskorn over the middle. There's just nobody there, wide open. And then they get the ball after you've taken the lead. You go right down the field to take a 42-34 8-point lead in the third quarter. You get them into 3rd and 11, easy to Prieskorn, first down. You get them into 3rd and 4. You get them into 4th and 2, and they go Wildcat and get it. Then you get them into 1st and 19, and Jackson Dart runs for 25 yards on first down. And then you get them on their last drive after the terrible squib kick. You get them in 3rd and 11, and they throw an out route that you have them stop before the sticks, and Denver Harris misses the tackle, and he goes 35 yards down the sideline. They can't stop him on 3rd down. And then it boiled down to the decision that Brian Kelly had to make. And we're going to play some Brian Kelly sound, his reaction from the postgame after I give you the situation. But with 3 minutes and 39 seconds to go in the game, and LSU leading with the football, you had 3rd and 5 at your own 47 near midfield. And I thought Mike Denbrock was incredible in this game. I thought Jaden Daniels was awesome. Everything on offense was cooking. But that 3rd and 5 play call where Jaden rolls out, I just didn't like. Now, if you go back and look at the tape, Malik may have been open enough for him to throw in the ball, and then it works perfectly, and then I don't have this conversation. But what it did on that 3rd down was it cut the field in half. Ole Miss could not cover the field against you. You were going right down the field. You were either hitting guys that were open or there wasn't anybody open, and Jaden had the field to work with, and he used his athleticism to run the football. Like you were just doing whatever you wanted. When you roll Jaden out like that, you cut one half of the field totally out, and you bring Ole Miss's entire defense at Jaden Daniels. And they ran him out of bounds for a sack, and it was 4th and 7. And 4th and 7 with 3 minutes to go at the 50-yard line, the question is like, do you go for this and leave your best unit out there? And Brian Kelly was asked about his decision whether or not to go for 4th and 7 at the 50-yard line with 3 minutes to go, and this was his answer.
Too far. And we felt like, you even saw, we had a couple other opportunities, right, to score, and we did, and still had a chance to score at the end there. So it just was, it wasn't, in my estimation, it was not the smart play to do it in that situation.
I'll be very honest with you. I don't have any interest in lying to you for brownie points. Like, in the moment, I'm fielding text messages, getting phone calls about that, and I said I'd probably punt. You're making them go 75, 80, 85 yards on your defense for a touchdown. Obviously, they can kick a field goal to take the lead as well. And my brain tells me, like, you just got to get one stop. They've gotten some holding penalties that have put them behind the sticks. You get one sack. You just got to make one play and get a stop, and you win the game. But the fact of the matter is that you haven't stopped anybody in the second half. You weren't stopping Ole Miss, and it's probably the prudent move to go for it and leave your best unit out there to try to get 7 yards. And if you don't get the 7 yards, Ole Miss has it at midfield. They're probably going to score pretty quick, and maybe you have more time on the clock than you did when they went 80 yards to score. I don't know. I thought it was the right thing to do to punt. It was not. Your defense is incapable of getting that stop. They've proven it not in one night, in half a season. You can't stop Florida State. You can't stop Arkansas. You can't stop Ole Miss. You probably don't deserve the benefit of the doubt. If it's 4th and 18, okay, we'll punt it. 7, you're getting 7 in your sleep. You got a quarterback playing as good as anybody in college football. You got 2 wide receivers who are going bonkers. You got a great tight end. And if they cover everybody, your quarterback may be able to run for 7 yards. It was probably the right move to go for it. Instead, they punted it like I thought they should do, and it backfires. You lose the game. It's shocking to see LSU put a product like that on the field because we're just not used to it. And Brian Kelly was asked a bunch about it today in his press conference, and he came back to kind of one default answer that they're young and inexperienced. I'll touch on a little bit of that coming up next on the Hunt Palmer Show. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.